Imposter, no clue. You know what? He's a fantastic gentleman, man. I can't even hate on him. I think a point shared is fair for both teams. I feel this game was a bit of a weird one where both teams were quite, going through the motions every 10 minutes. I'll talk about our opponents first. Not that I want to praise Spurs, but we have to be honest. First time in a long time. As I said, I think it's a bit of a mixture of us not playing our fluid football, us losing a couple of players, us just not doing the basics. Every player collectively not doing the basics. But this has been the first time in a while that I've seen Mikel Arteta's football kind of stifled, even in games where we win. So they've had our number in that regards. They had more possession. When was the last time we had less possession than a team? And I think early on, the possession was really deep in their half near their area, but it was a bit more all-rounded, really. So I have to give credit to them for that. Obviously, they found a way to come back from behind. For us and for both teams, it's shown that both teams can be their best friends or their worst enemies. It is the midfield battle, but ultimately football is decided in both boxes. And we haven't been as efficient and effective. I still don't think this season we are creating as many chances as we need to. And this game, the chances we created, we did not generally take them. Jesus, Maddison's got 2 assists. Should be bagging there, really and truly. Jesus should have a goal at least. Eddie should have a goal or an assist or one of the two. There's been a bag of chances, really, and I don't think we've created. Fortunately, Saka stepped up for the pen, and obviously, good little build-up for the Romero one. Shout out to Raya for the save, but I think his kicking weren't really the best today. The first goal, very disappointing because, the build-up where I give Raya the benefit of the doubt. I need to watch it again, but it looks like Raya's misjudged the flight of the ball, if I'm completely honest with you. Like, he's misjudged the flight of the ball. He's made a mess of it. Declan Rice's header is falling to Maddison. He's done Saka. White doesn't get out there. Everyone in that box is not doing well enough. The second goal, Georginio's going to have to hold that individually, but collectively, if we did what we needed to do today, regardless of any mistakes, we would have been there. And losing the ball on the transitions and people making mistakes, this is football. These things happen. But we didn't play well enough today, which is why I told people don't be complacent going into this and assume that it's a walkover. Again, I don't think this is defining. I don't think we should draw negative conclusions about Arsenal or Arsenal players. I don't think we should sit here and talk about Spurs or this, that, and the other, biased aside. But it's a step in the right direction. If you can't win, don't lose. For me, as much as I feel, to be honest, the Spurs manager's probably more happy with what he saw than Mikel Arteta. So they were the better team, in my opinion. But if you can't win, don't lose. The most annoying thing is we've shot ourselves in the foot. We've taken the lead twice. And twice we've not been able to hold on to it. That makes it 3 times so far this season where we have failed to do that, really. Where you look at, obviously, against Fulham. So that's now 4 points dropped. Spurs City are going to drop points. We're going to drop points. Again, maybe potentially, as I said at the start, if you offered me a point before the game, I might have taken it. But it is a bitter pill to swallow. I think the second half as well was more disappointing. Shout out to Saliba because your passing was poor in the first half. Second half, you helped us. I think we all could have done better defensively, but I've got more time for the defenders. We didn't create enough. Big up my captain, Martin Odegaard. Didn't really see you today. Maddison might have won that battle potentially. Saka, don't you do what you need to do. Eddie, it was like you're playing injured. Jesus, I thought Jesus was good. He should have scored that chance, and that's ultimately what I'm going to remember. I hope it's not an injury, but I also hope it's not a tactical decision to take off Gabriel Jesus because Gaffer didn't understand that one. I think for me anyways, I know if everyone's fit, we've got depth, but that's all ifs and buts. Personally, I've been saying it. I think we need a midfielder. And this shows that there's a lot to love about Arsenal and what we're doing. There's a lot of good things we're doing in our game, but we shoot ourselves in the foot too much. We weren't clinical enough. We didn't defend well enough. We're quite fortunate at some point, really. Everybody's to blame, bro. Everyone's to blame. Everyone's to blame. If we don't win, Arteta needs to ask questions. Postecoglou had your number today. The subs, I didn't get them. Obviously, you hear Rice has an injury and that. The players didn't do well enough. If any player today can leave that pitch and say they played at 100% and they genuinely couldn't have done any better, I call them an effing liar because you're lying. Even the ones I think that done all right. And it doesn't matter if one player played well and 10 others didn't because we don't normally get the result we need. It's a collective game. It's elite sport. Really. Initially, Spurs had a lot of the ball. It was really just where their centre-halves are. And to be fair, is it Van der Veen or whatever his name is? Van der Veen, good game today. Their keeper got them out of trouble. We are missing granite in games like this. And it just shows for me, which is why I think we need another midfielder. But that left 8 is up for grabs. Vieira weren't terrible. Didn't grab his performance today. I think Havertz, based on the fact of was probably on the back foot a lot of the second half. You kind of did your thing, but it's more or less more of the same, really and truly. So we're at where we're at, man. Again, it's 2 points dropped, 4 points dropped on the board. Again, me more personally is the fact that it was from a winning position. Whether we played good or not, we took the lead twice. Fulham, we took the lead in the game eventually, and against City, against City for the league title in other Premier League seasons prior to City, that's enough. So yeah, man. Maddison showed up today. And Maddison done a lot. I don't think he was amazing, but he done what he's needed to do. We gave Spurs their goals out of nothing. That's why you buy players like Son and players like Maddison. Same way we've got Saka through the academy and a bunch of others. They make things out of nothing. We didn't defend well enough today. We knew we weren't keeping a clean sheet at the Emirates. But it just shows how much, I guess, the standards have risen in that. Am I angry? No. Frustrated a bit. I'm more disappointed. I'm disappointed in ourselves. I'm disappointed in what we did. I'm disappointed in the events that panned out, really and truly. I'm disappointed in the fact of we can't leave that pitch, regardless of if we won, lost, or drawn today, saying that we had good games. Because individually, there might have been 1-2. Collectively, we didn't. We didn't do the basics. Arteta's lost the dressing room. Where's all this coming from? I can't say I agree, but you must be in the change room. You know more than me. I'll take your word for it, man, really and truly. But it is what it is. You just need to move on. There's no time to dwell on this now. What is it? Forgive me if I'm wrong. Midweek, you've got Brentford on Wednesday. That's where the rotation is gonna have to start to become something. You'd imagine Raya could keep his place, but you'd imagine Ramsdale comes in for that game. You'd imagine Nelson gets a start. You'd imagine Saka gets a somewhat of a day off. I don't know. On that, I've dropped the link. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, if anything, as well. Because whether you're Arsenal or Spurs or neutral fans, you lot always come heavy pause to support the guy, and it's appreciated. We're closing in on 300 likes. We've got 278. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Georginio's not the bro. I like Georginio. I'm not going to turn on Georginio. I think there's use for Georginio at this football club. It just, in hindsight, it weren't a game. But I've been saying, I think our midfield options are light. I want to have all this false nine, Vieira, Havertz, Odegaard. Do your thing with all the false eight. Sorry, do your thing with that. But we need a centre mid. But I was catting for El Nene to play today. Georginio, I do think he was a lot better from that mistake. But fundamentally, you made the mistake in it. It happens. But games like this, you're looking at people like Georginio to be a bit more switched on, especially coming off the bench. Honestly, I worry about, and that's probably the worst. You don't know the status of Declan Rice's injury. So what's that? Partey, Declan Rice. Again, we don't know when they're back or if they're out, but Partey, Declan Rice, Martinelli, who else? There's bare players injured, man, at the moment, but no excuses. We knew what time it was. We knew games are coming thick and fast. It is what it is. Poor at home, no clean sheet, sloppy goals again. Georginio can't be blamed. We know his limitations. Rice was injured. He needs to hold his L for losing the ball. And the subs unless Jesus has picked up a knock or he's not quite got 90 minutes in him, I'm not sure. But I didn't agree with that. Whole performance 2 out of 10. A bit harsh. I wouldn't call it 2 out of 10. I wouldn't call it a 2. A 4? 5? Maybe just a 5. A 5 because you got a point. And second half towards the end, I genuinely thought we was losing. But I do think it was one of those weird games. It is what it is, man. If you can't win, don't lose. Unfortunately, I can't troll my Spurs supporting friends, but at least everybody can chat. I know my Chelsea fan supporting friends are probably not saying anything. What the hell is this? I ain't answering numbers. I don't know. But you're going crazy, but we move in it. We move in it, like it is what it is. Essentially, it is what it is, like. Well, yeah, because they came back. But if I was Spurs, and to be honest with you, let's be real, like, again, the jury's still out on their gaffer, but I'm a fan of the game first, my football club second. I love this football club. I hate them man down the road. But if we take our cap off, I think on the basis of they went behind twice and they haven't won, they went behind twice and they've come back in it, I think they'll take a point. But on the other hand, for the possession they had, they actually play quite well. Maybe, Brennan Johnson scores, they create a bit more, something else happens. I don't think they'll be happy with a point, really and truly. You know, I wouldn't say he scared the living daylights out of us. And there was a couple hairy moments from Spurs, but I think they did quite well. And considering the fact that they've walked away now, that's the 13th attempt at the Emirates in recent years that they haven't won. I'm sure they'd be disappointed. I'm happy with a point based on the second half. I'm disappointed because looking at the bigger picture, if we are to fight with Liverpool and City, Liverpool City are the only winners. The difference is, and we know City are a different team than us. A lot of their players are the finished articles. We can't quite say the same. But the difference with City, they will drop points. But they've had games like that where they haven't necessarily, not exactly like for like, where they haven't necessarily been good, and it's been a fight. West Ham was a bit of that. They've got the result, and ultimately, all that matters is points on the board. We're playing a juggernaut of a City side. In many other years prior to City, what we did last year is enough for Arsenal to win their first Emirates title. Unfortunately, you're playing this juggernaut of Man City, the way they run their club, the players they have, and the goal of a manager. I've been saying, I genuinely feel when Pep leaves, I think they will get another manager. They will dominate, and they probably are speaking with him about suggesting planning. But I don't think they will get a GOAT manager at the time of walking through the door like Pep. Everybody needs to be ready for that, and specifically Arsenal needs to be ready to take advantage of that. But there's a lot to like about my football club. But in terms of the elements of self-capitulation, the hairy moments defensively, the emotionalness as well, you know, individually and collectively, there's this club needs to go a long way. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. Of course, this is the game we live for, but if you can't win, don't lose, innit? Simple as that. We aren't going to be able to compete for the league if our manager is choosing to play players like Georginio and Havertz. Then I guess he has to do that. Havertz to show his quality. How long have you got? I don't know. Eddie seriously needs to fix up his decision making. Otherwise, it's time to be ruthless with the striker position. Yeah, I wanted a bit more from Eddie, man. Unpopular opinion, Jesus, after his first injury last season, is a shell of the player he was before. He's lost a yard of pace. He's timid and can't hit a barn door. I think the only thing with Jesus is he's not a gunman in front of goal. If he was, he'd be a good player. But then again, Mertesacker was a good centre-back, a World Cup winning centre-back. If he had pace, he'd be a good centre-half. You know? If Joe Willock had certain things, he'd be at Arsenal Football Club. We can't do the ifs and buts, but the only thing Jesus is missing is being a gunman. I don't think we created enough. I really don't. But that chance that he had where he missed, that, in my opinion, sums up Gabriel Jesus. Lovely player, you know, away from the Brazilians and stuff. He's tenacious, he's aggressive, he's a pressing machine. Pause 100% on that. He's nicked the ball, but then you've not put the ball in the back of the net. And the Harry Kanes, the Lewandowskis, you know, the Osimhens, I wouldn't actually even have Osimhen in the same kind of category as them, but they're more elite strikers for goal scoring. They've scored. He's running off doing his celebration, and that's another thing, really. You know, we haven't really got. I like the fact that we're sharing the goals out, and anyone can kind of get goals in this game, in this team. But we, you know, you look at City, they've got certified gunmen. We don't. We're learning to do that. So we have to hold that, man. Sums up our game, the good, bad, and the ugly. We can score goals. As I said at the start of this stream, I think both teams will can score goals, but both teams will concede some stupid finishes. Obviously, a bit of fortune with the pen and the own goal. You have to make your own luck in this life, but it is what it is. We were just not good enough, man. We sucked this game. True. But I always say, to be fair, while I agree, a true mark of a team at times is what do you get when you've not necessarily played well. But we're now chasing 4 points. It don't really matter what points we've got on the board. It's the points we're chasing now against City, who at this moment in time are the only team to get maximum points this season. We were playing at home. I thought we were at least good enough to win our matches at home. Some of you predicted 5-0 and now losing your minds. Relax a bit, have some class. The fact that we conceded while Saka's replay was going on is unforgivable. Where's the focus? I mean, Jorginho's got to hold that, in it. Like, it's really Jorginho who's made that second. But what I would say is, you take away the Jorginho mistake. Did we play well enough today? No. Players, you know, there's a lot of ifs and buts for both teams, if I'm honest. And the problem now is it's another game with another injury, really. Now you're scratching your head and a bit nervous around Rice, definitely. If Rice didn't make you nervous, Trossard weren't there today. You obviously know Partey isn't about. Martinelli pulled up his calf. Boy, and you can get away, to play devil's advocate, you can get away a couple of times with a couple of these players if you now need them consistently throughout the course of a season. And again, the same problems that led to us not winning today, they were there at Liverpool, where we were so very different, but we were so good. Fundamentally, we took the lead, and we were fortunate to walk away with a point. The same is said for the West Ham game. We need to improve the game management. And the beautiful thing is, you know what? Two teams were unbeaten into this. We've gone back unbeaten. Both teams have, well, more Spurs have got positives to take from the game than myself, really. This is, I think we had our best performance against PSV. Probably collectively our worst performance this season, if I'm honest with you. Let's be brutally honest compared to how we could play. So maybe that's a benefit in that we've got something from all of it. But yeah, man. I didn't understand the Jesus sub. I need Arteta in the post game press conference to tell me, the Jesus picked up or not. He needs to lie to me. Disappointing result. DG can't lie and Pete. Spurs didn't even play that well. Mixed bag. What sort of mistake was that? And I'm 100% sure that Smith Rowe and Trossard can do what Havertz was trying to do. Maddison was available. Boy. We do it to ourselves, man. We cheat ourselves. And as I said, the biggest problem in life, the toughest pill to swallow in life is regret, because you can't go back in time. All I ask is these players, go out, try your best, do your best. And if you genuinely can look yourself in the mirror and have no regrets, fair enough. But there's going to be so many regrets. Could I have scored? Should I have done better? Can I have done better for this mistake? There's a lot of them. Even Raya. Raya's my guy, but that kicking today was booky. But shout out to you for your save for Brennan Johnson. I do think in the second half, to a degree, both managers threw in the towel as well. If I'm honest, and said, you know what, it's a draw. We need to be ruthless. PSV was the first time I saw ruthlessness this season. It is what it is. I've been saying we need a midfielder. Been saying we need a couple of midfield. I always give the example of squad depth as winter. If it's winter, which is moving to now in the UK, would you rather have the luxury of too many jackets and hoodies and things, and at least you've got the luxury of taking some pieces of clothes off, or would you rather step out and say, "Raw, I'm in a Gillette or whatever it's called, or I'm in a hoodie. I hope it doesn't drop a few percentages and I'm in trouble." You know what? Georginio has to hold his hands up. But you know what? If Georginio drops a performance like he did against Newcastle, Bear fans will drop their panties. I'm not saying you, but let's be honest. Arsenal fans are some of the most reactionary fans on the planet. Nobody quite draws conclusions like Arsenal fans. We sold Balogun to keep Eddie. Jorginho should be nowhere near the team. I mean, I wouldn't say Jorginho should be nowhere near the team, but we shouldn't be in a scenario where we're drawing for Jorginho. It sounds mad. And El Nene, Jorginho's better than El Nene, but I would have called on El Nene in that, I would have called on El Nene over that. I would still keep Raya in goal, at least for Bournemouth. It is every fan, but I'm talking about us, innit? I'll keep Raya in goal against Bournemouth. But this is what I'm saying. Keep everyone that was drawing these conclusions, Fabio this, Havertz that, David Raya this, that, and the other, bro. Like, keep it calm. I give Raya his hail up for the save. Kicking was terrible, and to be fair, the kicking was all right against PSV, but it needed a lot more. Facts, DJ. I agree. Midfield was our biggest problem, but Arteta's gonna have to hold that. Arteta's gonna have to hold that. I praise Arteta for how you assembled this team and the things you're doing. So if it goes wrong, ask questions, because you've seen in the last 2 years, more so towards the tail end of last season, what injuries can do and derail something, especially in those moments. This season, there's been enough of those injuries. I like Georginio. I think there's room for you to get games. I just think we needed another midfielder or two in addition to whatever the hell you want to do with Fabio Vieira, Martin Odegaard, Smith Rowe, missing someone else out, Kai Havertz. I can sit it up, bro. We have done a lot better with the parties and stuff like that, of course, but we can only deal with what's in front of us. And I feel sorry for the fans. I feel sorry for players who pick up injuries. I can't sit here and feel sorry for Eddie and Ketty, or for Mikel Arteta. Someone mentioned Eddie. I can't feel sorry for him, because you're too smart not to know these things can happen. Them subs were poor. You could tell they were leggy. It was an off game. Let's stop nagging. Party and Rice will be back soon. I hope so. We have to. I wouldn't say nagging, but if we won the game, we'd be blowing hot smoke in the air. So if we are frustrated, we need to keep balance, but we can talk about the negatives. The same energy we show positively and negatively should be there. It's just balance. Had we have won, would have been proclaiming things to the stars. But I would say that's one thing I like. The standards have improved, and that we're frustrated. We've got a point. To be fair, it is what it is. That's cool. You know, amazing. What a 3 points in that 1-1 draw. People forget Saka made the mistake for the first goal. Nah, he just got skinned. It's come from the right-hand side. Raya's misjudged it. It's gone to Maddison. Saka's got skinned where he needs to do a lot better there. Benjamin White needs to assist. That is what it is. Where's the 5-2? No clue what you're saying, man, but I appreciate your trolling, my guy. We should have had a second pen. I don't want to. Maybe I can't call on that. Maybe I just always want to focus on the variables we can control in it, and that was our performance, our clinicalness in front of goal, and our solidarity defensively. Do any of you feel like we played to the absolute maximum in those regards for any of those things I said? I don't think so. So it is what it is. You know, as I said, had we have lost or won, and the same goes for Spurs, I don't think this is a title season defining sort of thing. You know, and I think both teams just got to go out there tomorrow innit, and just watch the game again and prepare for, well, for us, prepare for Brentford and Bournemouth. Simple as that. Bit harsh on Eddie. Been decent this season. Just meaty today, and you've got to hold that. Squad player at best. Energy levels dropped hard after 45 minutes, which always seems to happen at home. Too many poor individual performances today. I agree, Raya's kicking was awkward. Odegaard, I love him. Missing today. Couple good patches of play, but not what we needed. I don't know how I didn't get you got 90 minutes. I personally think we got life in the second half. I genuinely thought somebody is nicking the game in the last 10 minutes of it because both teams have a history of that. So yeah, man, for Spurs, there's a lot of confidence they can go into the Liverpool game. They got Liverpool next. Big up Talawa TV. Make sure you're subscribing to her and all this content she makes. Big up DG. That game was hotter than fish oil. Silly errors gifted both sides goals. Spurs had us looking like visitors. Best derby in the country. There you have it. Conceding silly goals. Big up DG. Fair result, but first half performance shows if you don't take your chance, it will cost you. Exactly, because we could be talking about the general 90-minute performance, but the clinicalness could have seen us get away with it. And as I always say, I'm not criticizing the strikers because it's not just down to them to create chances. But that's what I mean when I say if we could get a clinical striker, you turn draws into victories, defeats into draws, and this could have been turned into a victory. If you know, to be honest, Spurs could sit there and say they could have got a bit more. Maybe the same could be said for them. But from us, had the ball of gone in the back of the net a few more times with the chances we had, it could have been 4-2. It could have been something, and we could have the same energy we have, but fundamentally we'd have points on the board. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. We dissect the performance. You can't just look at whether you've won and just be mad excited if you know had saw moments of things you could do better. Equally, you know, you can't just be hella difficult and awkward and just criticize your team when you've lost, even though it's easy to do. If there's some positives and negatives according to whatever, then it is. Mistakes got us down bad, man. Thoughts on White? I think he's the weakest link. Bit harsh on White, but he could have done a lot better. Arteta is ruthless with players he doesn't like. Eddie should be nowhere near the first 11 if he was really ruthless. Eddie is dead, man. Why he played instead of Nelson? Didn't work, man. What went wrong for you, Juice? I think I've kind of been alluding to all of that. So yeah, man, I think that's all the things that went wrong. So we're just gonna have to firm that, man, and do better. It's as simple as that, man. But you lot have been in top form, and we have got 308 likes. I do appreciate you lot for that. Ish result for North London Derby, but we move. Eddie should be nowhere near the first team. Trossard was a huge loss. Another one, bro. Bed, like, bro. The injuries are one thing. Like, I am scared as a fan. I feel sorry for the fans. Arteta, I got a lot of love for you, but I don't have any sympathy for you with injuries because you knew this was the thing. You knew this could be a thing, and you're too smart to have not sat there and said we have the ability to cope. Pardon me. I said I would like a couple of midfielders. All right, we got a couple of midfielders. We didn't get enough, but here's what it is. One question: where are these changes because we play Brentford on Wednesday? It can't be, man, because obviously that's in a cup. I think if you ask Arteta, would he rather 3 points or whatever in the League Cup, he'd pick that. If you can't win, don't lose. We pack up and move on, and that's fundamentally it. There's always reason to be positive. There's always reason to be negative in it. There's always things we could have done better. I mean, Rice, they say has a calf knock. Let's just hope it's nothing serious. You know, you'd imagine he skips out the thingy game. And I do wonder with Declan Rice, in hindsight, how long has Declan Rice been carrying that? Because did he not get sub in the game against PSV? So yeah, man. Raya, Odegaard, Eddie, Jorginho, all pulled today. How do you lose the ball there? That's a sackable offense. Thoughts on Zinchenko today? One that could leave with some sense of somewhat pride. But again, I don't think he will because the collective. We would have been swinging in crosses if Tony was on the pitch. I think we could have won it if not for the missed opportunities in the first half. But what can we do? Back to the drawing board. There you have it. Honestly, in the back of my mind, I feel City could go invincible if we don't dispatch of them at the Emirates. They will drop points. Bro, we have to use what we have effectively. We could have won this game without the poor decisions from the manager. Gosh, I think everyone could have done better. We desperately need Tony. He puts away those chances Eddie and Jesus miss. We look good until 30 minutes, then dropped off massively. Tony and a midfielder in January, in my opinion. American gun, I'd be all for it, man. City have clinical players like Haaland and Doku that wouldn't define Doku as that yet, but yeah, Jesus and Nketiah missed big chance for us. Time to buy Tony. I wouldn't say people are not happy, but it's clear to see people are frustrated, rightly so. Smash the like button if you haven't done such already. 323 likes. Can we get 400? I don't understand where the energy went midweek. Everyone was sharp. Just shows. I don't know, man. Maybe it's the fact that we had another game. I just think I don't know, but I just think it lacked intensity today. The true intensity it needed. I think there were patches where we looked good, but somebody said it there. I just feel we kind of, not that we gave up, but was lacking that sharpness, that intensity. I think Spurs' tactics were working on us and not allowing us to play. I just think we weren't as sharp, and not just in terms of physically. I just feel the decision making in all areas of the field. Jorginho sums up everything there, really. Like, yeah, and he's not alone. The only people that I think look decent probably our defenders, Gabriel, Saliba, based on the second half. White, I think you could have done better for the goal, but I think you kind of played close to your potential more than others. Obviously, Zinchenko, I don't think you were terrible today, to be fair with you. So, yeah, Raya, you made the big save. You're kicking, but if I'm crying about the keeper's kicking, then that's something there, isn't it? Shaky draw, to be honest. I know I'm going to pen. There needs to be a convincing win we see in the Prem. I hear that. Rice was one of our best players today. We did the damage to ourselves. Saliba saved us so many times, and Gabriel as well. There you have it. I mean, if you're expecting Declan Rice to score, it's crazy. Arteta must find a system which works to get wins without Rice and Partey. I think you need, if I'm honest, it's true, and he needs to. But I just think you need better players, because I'll be real, like, they're two of our key players. This is why I said I think we need another midfielder. We wouldn't, obviously, the Caicedo thing wasn't going to do it, but the Caicedos, the Lavias, the Zubamendi, someone of that ilk, really and truly. Haven't seen Raya do anything. Ramsdale couldn't. Too much talk around that. I love both keepers. Both of them are cool. Got two good keepers, but can't draw conclusions. I do like Raya's calmness. And he does seem a bit like, with Raya, he more does the sweeper keeper thing, if I'm honest. Like, he more acts like a centre-back at times to help play out from the back, if I'm honest. I think this just shows we miss Xhaka more than anything. This is where you have to have Partey's control, Xhaka's veteran status, and a striker. And our striker is no threat. Stop buying these Chelsea scrubs. Raya's long balling, pissing me off. Yep, we somehow can't connect. Maybe it's the emotion of the North London derby. I don't know, man. But sometimes it's just a bad game at the office, you know. Maybe it's just and we're going to have to hold that and hold ourselves accountable. But maybe it's just a bad day at the office. I don't know, though, man. Big chance from Jesus. You know, the game's probably going to be summed up in many people's way in Jesus' chance and Georginio. And I can't protect them from that. I think it's wrong to just blame that, but those are two very moving periods. And I'd also say Eddie Nketiah as well, where he's gone for goal. You have to score there, in my opinion. I thought when I first saw it, I thought, you know, I think he didn't. It's one of them. I thought he didn't have much to do. He had to kind of get that one across. He had to get the shot. When looking back, Jesus has made a run, and either Fabio Vieira or Odegaard are both there, and you could have squared it. For me, I describe that's for me our worst performance this season, if I'm honest. Just because I think it was very sluggish across stages. I think the quality and the care for the ball for the man in possession weren't quite there. Clearly, we weren't as efficient or as effective as we could be, because we've shown we can score goals. We've also shown we can concede dumb goals, and we've shown that in a couple of games this season, really and truly. You know, had we have put the ball in the back of the net, maybe we still get the 3 points. We're still talking about these things and laughing. To be fair, I think the ref got the big decisions right. I don't know for the second penalty. To be fair, I say that. I don't know how, to be brutally honest, Romero, how you walked away with getting a yellow card when you got a yellow card, a true criminal. Jorginho and Havertz are the players Arteta wanted. Can't make excuses about needing more players. I can, because I'm a fan. I wanted more. Why did Spurs look like the home side? You'd have to ask them. But yeah, honestly thought this was Rice's worst performance yet. Eddie's pressing was weirdly lazy. It was like Odegaard was playing alone up top. We were rushing when there was no need to rush. That's how Spurs got their first goal. We just weren't certain. All sloppy all over, and the makeshift team is ours. Thoughts on the subs today? Would have loved to have seen Smith Rowe a lot sooner. I think because it looked like Spurs was on the front foot and the bar kind of drops for Kai Havertz in that regards, I think I was kind of happy in a weird way to see Havertz because he's going to make fouls, he's going to win fouls, he's going to win headers and that. Like, I know we want a bit more. We don't really want to just be talking about that. But yeah, Nelson, ineffective really. But again, at that time, I think, you know, the team is moving meaty. So I think the subs are just come on. You become part of the meatiness, if I'm honest with you. Saka had a decent game, but it was nowhere near his best. Odegaard didn't see enough today. Declan Rice for your 45 minutes. Think you was okay? First time I've seen you lose the ball carelessly, though. So I just think it's a collective terrible day. I understand they left it all on the pitch on Wednesday, but you have to have a certain level of energy in the North London derby, and Odegaard, among others, didn't have it. No point dwelling on this result. Got to focus on the next week now. It is what it is, man. We just got to move with that. We've just got to move with that. With that being said, let's do player ratings. Player ratings. 5 for Raya. I don't think it's a below a 5. Kicking poor. I think he had a hand to play in the goal in a weird way, like a lot of players, but I'll give you a 5. Why? I think you can walk away with a 5. You know, you could have done better for the goal. Gabriel, 7. Saliba, 7, but an extra bonus point for that second half. Your passing was terrible in the first half, in my opinion, by your standards, but I think my defenders is calm. Zinchenko, I think he gets a 6. I think he weren't poor today. Odegaard, 4. Didn't really see you today, my guy. I'll be real. It probably is a 5, but you done the pressing and that. I don't think you asserted yourself in the way I'm sure you wanted to. Who else was there? Rice, 6 really. Who else was in midfield with him? Fabio Vieira, 4. Didn't really see you today like that. Saka had a hand in the 2 goals. I don't know why, but at some point it's like we stopped taking on our man. Like as soon as we scored and Doggy's on a yellow card, like Saka's getting at him. I don't know why that stopped. And it looks and Doggy looked a lot more confident. But it's probably I'll give you 2 bonus points for your hands in the goal. So it's an 8. It's probably more of a 6. Jesus,